All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Everything College Football Podcast. Today, I'll be doing my preview and prediction for the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl between Louisville and Washington, going down in El Paso, Texas. New Year's Eve, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Louisville, 2.5-point favorites. 49.5 is the total. Getting things started with the Louisville offense on the Huskies defense. This is a good unit throughout the year for the Cardinals. This is a team that went toe-to-toe with some of the tougher defenses in the conference and had no trouble with them at all. They were solid against Notre Dame, almost 400 yards. Against SMU, almost 500 in what was a bit of a shootout. Miami, that game was a big shootout. They lost 52-45 and they went on the road and beat Clemson with ease with a phenomenal rushing attack. This is a team that's really good on offense. The biggest problem is that they are going to be down. Most of the guys you saw this year, Tyler Shaw. We have undrafted free agents now dropping out of bowl games for whatever reason. Ja'Cory Brooks, a really good player. Him and Amari Huggins-Bruce, two of the top three pass catchers, will be opting out as well. Two depth running backs in Donald Chaney, Keon Brown are in the portal, so I don't expect them to suit up either. So it's a bit of a depleted offense. It's one that's not going to be very similar to the one you saw throughout the year. They're going to be turned into fifth-year quarterback Harrison Bailey. He'll be the starter. He's thrown 8 attempts this year, 8 completions. That was in the first 2 weeks of the season in garbage time. So this is a guy who hasn't played much in his college football career. And he'll be going to battle with an offense that's pretty watered down. Mark Redmond, I think, is a good tight end. Colin Lacey, I think they said he'll be getting the go. He battled injuries all year, and so he only played 4 games in an effort to preserve his red shirt. So good call there, so he can play a full season. And then Chris Bell, 677 and 4 touchdowns this year. So you have a few solid options in this receiving group. Tight end Jamal Johnson in the portal, so it's another one they're down. So it's not the greatest of effort, but I think you have enough here to you can certainly make a game out of this. Going up against a Washington defense, though, that they've been pretty good against the pass throughout the year. What is it, 5th nationally? They're pretty solid when it comes to slowing down the pass. So Harrison Bailey, Stephen Belichick, his final game before bolting for UNC. It's going to be tough. Thaddeus Dixon's been a solid corner. Ephanias Price-Sock as well. Cameron Fabucolanan at safety. He's a hard hitter and get down in a hurry and make plays against the run. So this is a team that's been solid against the pass this year. Only 8 interceptions. Linebacker Carson Bruner leads the way in that category. Also has a team high 93 tackles. So this is a defense that has a lot of great pieces to it. Alfonso Tuapatala at linebacker as well. I like what they bring to the table. This is a team that has certainly struggled against the run, and that's where this game's going to probably come down to. Giving up 19 touchdowns, rushing 158 yards on the ground. Respectable number. They just don't generate many negative plays. They're one of the worst in the country at tackles for loss. Only 43 on the year. Isaiah Ward, Sebastian Valdez are going to be your top 2 defensive linemen. Russell Davis, he only played 3 games and he's second on the team with 3 sacks, 20 as a team. So this is not a team that really provides much heat. I think that might certainly work in Louisville's favor, especially since this is a rushing attack that is very good. Isaac Brown really emerged this year, 1,000-plus yards, 11 touchdowns. Duke Watson came on at the end of the year when they were battling some injuries. 514 yards, 7 touchdowns. Most of that came over the final 3 games of the year. Then he had some numbers in the first 2 in garbage time as well. So this is a guy that's been really good. Nice 1-2 punch here at running back. It's also been a very stout offensive line as well. Shaw, he played better than I thought he would this year, so maybe Bailey will do better than I thought he would. He probably will. I just don't think they're going to be able to generate anywhere near to what they were doing this year, but I think this could be a run-heavy approach. They might have good success in that regard. Washington, again, they're not great against the run. I wouldn't say they're horrendous. The teams they struggled against, they run the ball very well. 200-plus allowed to Iowa, Penn State, and Oregon. That's no slouch. Those are 3 of the best rushing attacks in the country. Indiana, they were kind of able to hold them in check throughout the game, though. 3.6 yards per carry. So a little bit of success, but not too much. For the most part, though, I think this is a run defense that can be solid in this game. Probably won't be great and overwhelming. And again, they just struggle to generate many negative plays. So Harrison Bailey, as long as the secondary doesn't confuse him too much, they're probably not going to be able to get home too often. He should have clean pockets to work. But again, I think it's going to be a far cry from the unit you saw throughout the year with all that veteran leadership and playmaking by Ja'Cory Brooks. He was phenomenal for them. Moving to the other side of the ball, the Washington offense taking on the Cardinal defense. Washington's offense really struggled this year, 22.5 points per game. Will Rogers really wasn't all that great in terms of effectiveness. He's benched in favor of Desmond Williams. This is a guy who's got the start against. He played a good bit against Oregon, 17 of 20, 201 yards and a touchdown. He's been, a guy who ran the ball a lot. 22 total attempts. Of course, a lot of those were sacks as well. But I think they're going to look to, make this guy a dual threat passer. or dual threat player at quarterback, that is. And that's certainly not something that always fits into this scheme the Jed Fish runs. But he's a smart play caller. He's going to certainly do things that can get this guy's skill set utilized properly. So I haven't seen too much as a passer, but he was greatly efficient against Oregon in a game that was, at times tight early on. But they ended up losing that one 49-21, but he still did complete at a high clip, trying to lead them back. I think the best thing for him is he has great pass catchers. Denzel Boston, I love this guy out wide. 60 grabs, 807 yards, 9 touchdowns. And then he has Giles Jackson, a veteran of the program, team high 74 grabs for 732 yards. And then you have another guy here in Jeremiah Hunter. Really like what he brings to the table, 412 yards and a score. Kakia Latu at tight end has 36 receptions, nearly 400 yards as well. So there's going to be options here for him to work with. And you have a team that's also running the ball quite well. Jonah Coleman, over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. He is playing in this game, coming back next year. 131 yards rushing as a team, and I think this kind of 1-2 punch, though, it gave UCLA problems. Only ran for about 123 yards in this game, but 4 yards per attempt, very respectable. They faced a lot of very tough defenses down the stretch, did Washington. So I think this is a solid team here. They ended up beating USC and UCLA, holding those offenses in check. So Washington, I think they can compete on this, or their defense, that is, can compete in this game. And I think their offense is probably going to produce better than they have, because again, they did face some very tough defenses. They kind of maybe lowered those numbers, even though early on in the year they weren't all that phenomenal. For Louisville, you're going to be down Ashton Gelati. It looks like Jared Dawson will be transferring out as well. So I don't think he'll play. Benjamin Perry's been a good linebacker for them. Another guy who's going to be gone, looks like, what's his name, Quincy Riley. He's going to be opting out of this game, their top cornerback. So they're also kind of beating up on this side of the ball. It's a Louisville defense. It's been good throughout the year. TJ Quinn, Stanquan Clark, 2 good linebackers, have 70-plus tackles. You have veterans in the safety group, MJ Griffin, Tamarian McDonald. So there's some guys here who can still produce, and I still think it's a very deep defensive line. So even if they're down their top 2 guys, Tremel Logan's going to have to step up big. Thor Griffin, Desmond Tell. There's still guys here that can make plays and be solid against the run, as the defense has been all year, giving up only 135 yards per contest. They haven't really struggled too much. Only allowed 200-plus, only twice against Miami and Clemson. Their run defense really didn't lose in many games. Maybe the SMU game kind of costed them, but they fared very well against Notre Dame early on in the season. Back half of the year, nobody was able to really expose them. Able to keep some nice running backs in check, including Desmond Reed late in the year against Pittsburgh. So this is a Louisville defense I think can certainly be competitive, but I think Washington, they got a little bit more juice here with a quarterback that's got mobility. So the offensive line, their issues, where they're 109th in sacks allowed, won't be put on display as much. And I think they'll be able to produce a little bit more balance and significantly more points. Looking at the final prediction here, I'm going to take Washington by a bit of a lopsided score, 31-21. I know they're underdogs, and I don't really understand why. I'd go ahead and hop on this as soon as you can. I think as it comes closer to kickoff, you're really going to see this one get bat down. I just think Washington's working with more here. They have more players available to them on both sides. Louisville, without some of their top players. Again, Brooks has been a phenomenal playmaker. Tyler Schau has been a good quarterback this year, a lot better than I thought he would be. Now they're turning to a guy who, again, is a fifth-year player who's barely played in his career. I mean, that just means that, there's a reason why he hasn't played that much in this many years. So I think he's going to make some mistakes and they'll struggle. They might run the ball very well, but I don't think it's going to be to the tune to win them the game outright. It very likely could be, though. So I think that's the biggest concern for Washington. Just be good against the run here, and I think these linebackers will do an adequate job of keeping them in check, and that allow them to pull away with a balanced offense against a bit of a watered-down defense. So I'm going to take Washington here, get the job done in El Paso, win this game outright as dogs. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.